Taking sides can be very dangerous. But let's live a little, all right? I've noticed something. I've noticed a big change for Nintendo. They've had a change of heart, and I've noticed this for a while, and this change of heart is going to affect the Switch and really Nintendo forever. And there's kind of a good side of it and kind of a bad side of it. And I want to know where you fall after you hear it. This has been really, I have a lot of intensity about this subject, okay? And so I'm gonna give you the sides, and I'm gonna take a side, and then you're gonna take a side if you want. And it's just weird that Nintendo is in on this now, because they weren't before, and it seemed like they would sit it out, and now they're fully in. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Juicy video for you all today. As you get buckled in, get your snacks, get your sodas, get whatever you got. Make sure to click the link in the description down below to check out Disney Emoji Blitz, my favorite match 3 strategic puzzler where you can use the emojis in your text message conversations. And guess what? I'm picking 3 people to give a $20 Nintendo Switch eShop gift card. All you gotta do is click the link, reach level 25. It's not that hard. And then show me your progress, all right? Plus, every time you click the link, it helps support the channel and all that I do and me making videos where I take sides and be dangerous, all right? So here we go. Nintendo has been a company that plays by their own rules. They play to the beat of their own drum. And the Switch, it changed things in Nintendo's way. And ever since the success has started to build, it seems like Nintendo has gotten a little more loosey-goosey with some of their ways. But there's one in particular that has sort of affected the entire industry, save for Nintendo. And now Nintendo is at this juncture where they've leaned a little bit left and they've leaned a little bit right, and now they're going forward. And I'm talking about remasters and remakes. Okay, so Nintendo, they previously did things interestingly. If they wanted to bring a game back, they would port it, right? We've seen that early on in the Switch life cycle, continuing up almost till right now, where, hey, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze didn't sell enough, and it should have. Freaking should have. So they brought it to Switch. Thank goodness. They did it with Captain Toad. They did it with New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe Switch version. They would just bring the game to try to give it more publicity. Whereas other companies like Sony and Microsoft, they'd be like, no, we're going to remake the whole darn game. And then Nintendo decided, what if we brought back old games, but we're not going to really do much. They brought back the Mario 3D All-Stars collection. They're like, okay, people want this stuff, but they didn't touch it. And they didn't touch it because, I don't know, they can get away with it. And I think Nintendo knows they have your money no matter what. Sometimes they decide to be generous, like with the Switch Online stuff, they're not remasters, but they have incorporated some new features like online multiplayer, so you can see this progression here. Then they decided that they were going to do actual remaster remakes of their own. And here's where things got really nifty, really interesting, and potentially really bad. There's 2 ways that this happens. One I think is great and one I don't. So the great way is that you take a game that you want to build buzz for the franchise and you want to hype up the franchise and you're working on other parts, and so it's sort of like a precursor, right? So we say, hey, we're going to do the heavily rumored and confirmed by Jeff Grubb Metroid Prime Remaster as a way to really build the stakes for Metroid Prime 4. And don't worry, Metroid Prime 4 is already out there. This is Nintendo taking a cue from the rest of the industry and doing it super great. It's a remaster, but there is more in store. And in fact, there was more before because Metroid Dread already came out. Nintendo is leveraging a past game to buoy the franchise forward. There's the other way, where I feel like they are using the nostalgia of the franchise for an easy way out. And it's a very gray area. Like, these are very close. Let's take a game like Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. Advance Wars is a series we've been begging Nintendo to bring back. And they did. But they did it with a remaster. And now, this could be seen as a great way to test the waters for the franchise, but it could also be seen as a quick cash-in where Nintendo doesn't have to design something brand new and can bring a game to market that they know they can charge $60 for, and there's 100 million Switch owners, and they can get you to buy it, even if you've already bought it before. Now, I'm not opposed to buying games that they've had major substantial changes, or if it's been decades or years and years, or they're inaccessible on a platform. But the quirky thing here is, Nintendo is a company that loves to be greedy. They could have us playing Advance Wars 1 and 2 if they would upgrade Nintendo Switch Online to have Game Boy Advance capability. And we know they're working on the emulator. So this is where it gets murky. Because now, rather than leveraging Advance Wars on the Nintendo Switch Online to build a new Advance Wars, they're remastering the old. And they might say that, hey, they're remastering the old so that they can test the waters and see. And maybe that happens, but there's zero guarantees. Now, we've had rumors lately that Nintendo is doing this again with two other franchises that fans have begged to come back. F-Zero and Kid Icarus. Now, recently, Kid Icarus was rumored by Zippo. We talked about it on Good Morning Mario. And that is supposed to be a remake of Kid Icarus Uprising from the 3DS to the Switch with Bandai Namco as the main partner. Yeah, it's great. Kid Icarus is coming back, but they're repurposing an old game to charge you more for it. And will they follow through and bring another one? I don't like that. I feel like it's better when a franchise gets remastered or remade so that they can jump us to the next one, like they've done with Metroid. I think that is the ideal scenario. Even something like the new Mario Party Superstars is taking remastered content, but it's bringing it forth in a way that is new-ish. And I know that could also be considered a murky example, but they really redid the graphics. They're bringing in mini-games from different eras, not just from the boards that they've brought forth. It is a hybrid remaster, but it's done with a little bit more of a modern bringing together, right? Like, it's like, hey, we can't just re-release Mario Party 1, so let's take the best boards and the best mini-games and all of this kind of together, boom. And here's hoping it gets DLC, because that game is ripe for DLC. But the idea with both the F-Zero rumor and with the Kid Icarus rumor is that instead of investing in a new game for the franchise, they would just bring back an old game, which is easier, cheaper, quicker, and they can charge you full price for it. Now, Nintendo has, if they've got nothing else, they've got money. They have made piles and piles of money this generation. So, I say if they want to test the waters, the Switch has proven that every franchise does better than it did before. Is there any sitting duck out there? Is there any that has died on the vine? No. So they could invest that money and a little bit more money, take a bit of a risk, and do one better by the players by presenting a brand new experience. Then they could give us the old games on Nintendo Switch Online, and you see where this gets good and bad. On a good side, they're bringing franchises that fans want, and this sets them up to do better than what we saw with Mario 3D All-Stars, because that was yuck. I mean, I love playing Galaxy on the go, and it's great to have those games on Switch, but it was pricey, and they really did not polish them up in many significant ways. They added hardly nothing. It was just bare bones. So if these remasters work, we might get great games made greater. That's the good side. The dark side is if it's not a franchise like Zelda where we know they're just going to do it over and over. Like you're going to get Skyward Sword, you're going to get Wind Waker, because that franchise is mega. We run the risk of getting in a habit where Nintendo takes the easy route out, brings back old games, makes them remastered, and releases them for full value when they could give them to us on Switch Online. We could already have them, or they could make a brand new game. And I know some people are going to say, Zach, it's fine. We love these games. We want to see them with better graphics and modern era, modern servers. Kid Icarus will have multiplayer. That's going to be cool. F-Zero would have multiplayer. That's great. And yes, I do see it. But I feel like Nintendo, as sometimes they do, is just dicey about it. Like they're taking a real kind of slithery path forward. Metroid Prime will be a very interesting title because that seems to be like a true remaster for a good purpose. And if they do that well, maybe I'll feel a bit better. But I'm wondering if maybe Nintendo porting games because they need more sales and Nintendo remastering to buoy towards a new title is different than Nintendo just saying, hey, if we put some better graphics and up-res this, we can sell it again. Do you see the difference? It's not taking a game that underperformed and trying to get it due justice, and it's not trying to move bigger sales towards a bolder entry while you wait for development. It could be, they could make a new Kid Icarus, but I feel like with all Nintendo's efforts and where it goes and what they make, I feel like they are, man, they know how to make costs effective. And one great way to make cost effective is by milking your player base because you know they're nostalgic. And if you really squeeze them on the classic games catalog, you really don't let those games go, then you can bring in the money over here. And I feel a type of way about that. I don't love that. I would rather a new Advance Wars. I would rather a new Kid Icarus. I would rather a new F-Zero. Metroid Prime, I'm getting a new one. I already got a new one, and I'm getting a remake. Beautiful. And they can't do 3 games for every franchise. I get it. So maybe there is some good in just bringing awareness or bringing it back. Because maybe if they didn't do it this way, we wouldn't get it at all. But see, that's the point. We wouldn't get it all because they choose to. They have the money. They have the audience. They have the resources. They could make this happen. And so I say that, phooey, I don't want Kid Icarus Uprising on Switch. I don't want F-Zero GX on Switch. I want new F-Zero, new Kid Icarus, and then find a way to incorporate the old games, or announce a new Kid Icarus and say we're doing this one in the interim. It's all about messaging. It's all about how you let the players know, and Nintendo isn't very good at that. They've been poor at that forever. On one hand, the directs are fantastic, but now they've abandoned those, at least for the time being, and they don't really inform us of what's coming ahead, and we get really giddy when they give us like a 1-month heads up on an N64 game. Because we've been conditioned to know that they don't update us. So we need info, we need plans, or you got to do a new title. I think about Animal Crossing New Horizons and how great that game was because it was new, and how easy it could have been for Nintendo to swap in New Leaf with better visuals. Some might argue that New Horizons is New Leaf with better visuals, but it's not. It is a new game. They could have done it though, and I don't want to see some of our more niche favorite franchises where Nintendo does have the cash for them and they could put the full might of their company behind them, instead just getting relegated to remasters. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you pro how Nintendo seems to be doing this? Are you anti how Nintendo seems to be doing this? They started off with ports, and then they started off with some more organic ways of remastering into new content and leading to new content. And now it seems like they're going down a path of pure remaster just because it's a way to make money. And I want to know what you think about that. Let me know in the comments down below. Hope you're all having a fantastic day out there. Make sure to stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive. And until next time, SwitchForce out.